Page number 907. UPSC Civil Services Examination, English Compulsory, 2001. Time allowed 3 hours, full marks 300. Candidates should attempt all questions. First, write an essay in about 300 words on one of the following. A. Knowledge is power. B. Consequences of globalization. C. Value of yoga. D. Science and human happiness. E. Tourism in India. Second, read the following passage and answer in your own words the questions that follow. 5 into 15, 75 marks. The world we live in presents an endless variety of fascinating problems which excite our wonder and curiosity. The scientific worker attempts to formulate these problems in accurate terms and to solve them in the light of all the relevant facts that can be collected by observation and experiment. Such questions as what, how, where, and when challenge him to find the clues that may suggest possible replies. Confronted by the many problems presented by the clues that may suggest possible replies. Confronted by the many problems presented by, let us say, an active volcano, we may ask, what are the lavas made of? How does the volcano work and how is the heat generated? Where do the lavas and gases come from? When did the volcano first begin to erupt and when is it likely to erupt again? In terms of chemical compounds and elements, the question how refers to process, the way things are made or happen or change. The ancients regarded natural process as manifestations of energy acting on or through matter. Volcanic eruptions and earthquakes no longer reflect the erratic behavior of the gods of the underworld. They arise from the action of the earth's internal heat on and through the surrounding crust. The source of the energy lies in the material of inner earth. In many directions, of course, our knowledge is still incomplete. Only the first of the questions we have asked about volcanoes, for example, can as yet be satisfactorily answered. The point is not that we now pretend to understand everything, but that we have faith in the orderliness of natural process. As a result of 2 or 3 centuries of scientific investigation, we have come to believe that nature is understandable in the sense that when we ask questions by the way of appropriate observations and experiments, she will answer truly and reward us with discoveries that endure. A. How does the author describe the task of the scientific worker? B. Why does the author speak about volcanoes? C. What does the equation how refer to? D. How did the ancient look upon volcanoes and earthquakes? E. What does the author say about our knowledge of the world? Third, make a précis of the following passage in your own word in about 230 words on the special précis sheet provided. Marks 75. No amount of improvement and reconstruction in education will bear much fruit if your schools and colleges are undermined by indiscipline. An impartial examination makes it clear that students and teachers alike need more of the spirit of discipline. If proper education is to be given, acts of indiscipline prevalent in our educational institutions have to be checked. Page number 908. Indiscipline may take the shape of group indiscipline or individual indiscipline. Group indiscipline is the worst of the two. While as individuals, many of our students are as good as students elsewhere, the tendency to group indiscipline has increased in recent years. Many causes have led to this group indiscipline. For various reasons, under a foreign regime, acts of indiscipline becomes frequent. often necessitated by the political activities which were launched under different political circumstances. We feel that there is no justification for such acts of indiscipline after the attainment of independence. The democratic constitution which the country has adopted permits the redressing of grievances through democratic machinery. It would be against all principles of democracy if such acts of indiscipline were to continue. The real purpose of education is to train youth to discharge the duties of citizenship properly. All other objectives are incidental. Discipline, therefore, should be the responsibility of parents, teachers, the general public, and the authorities concerned. There are some positive factors promoting discipline. The Indian student's natural tendency is to be disciplined. It is only when forces act strongly on him that he may sometimes be led astray. He appreciates rules and is normally inclined to abide by them. Much can be done to encourage this trend in schools and college life. Personal contact between teacher and pupil is essential. Emphasis is also to be laid on the role of the class teacher or tutorial guide in promoting general discipline and the welfare of the pupils. Further, a greater responsibility should develop upon the students themselves in the maintenance of discipline. Nothing is more calculated to develop a proper sense of self-discipline and proper behavior than their enforcement, not by any outside authority with any symbol of punishment, but by the students themselves. They should choose their own representatives to see that proper codes of conduct are observed. Another important method of bringing home to pupils the value of discipline is through group games. It is on the playing field that the virtue of playing the game for its own sake and the team spirit can be cultivated. Such extracurricular activities as Boy Scouts, Girl Guides, the National Cadet Corps, Junior Red Cross and social service activities will promote a proper spirit of discipline. The building up of a truly harmonious and united form of community life should be the endeavor of all progressive educational institutions. Besides these positive factors, certain negative factors also promote discipline. The discipline of the youth of any country depends upon the discipline that is exercised by the elders. It is a well-known fact that in all democracies, election time is a time of feverish activities, not only conducted in the most healthy spirit and the utilization by politicians of immature minds like students for purpose of electioneering campaigns with or without slogans attached thereto, is not calculated to promote sound discipline among students. It should be considered an election offence by any member or party to utilize the services of pupils under the age of 17 in politics or civic campaign. Besides, while the educative value of leading politicians addressing our students from time to time may be readily admitted, the tendency often is for the leaders not to speak to the audience before them, but to a wider audience whose attention they wish to attract through the press. It is not necessary that every speech made by a politician should be a political speech. Lastly, discipline among students can only be promoted if there is discipline among the staff. The teacher and the educational administrator should realize that their activities are all being watched by their pupils. To what extent, therefore, both in their personal conduct and in their general attitude to their problems concerning their country, they have to realize that there are limitations within which are must act for the best interests of education. Ultimately, it is the school or college atmosphere and the quality of the teachers there that endure proper codes of conduct and discipline among our students. Fourth, fill in the blanks using appropriate forms of the words given below. Value, offend, strike, jealous, put, grant, disturb, learn, fly, economic. First, the man dashed into a rage and tore away his garments. Second, a sensible man never takes everything from dash. Third, no one seems to have taken dash at her manners. Fourth, When are you dash out to sea again? 5th, I have no mind to trespass upon your dash time. 6th, try to rise above petty personal dash. 8th, the officer dashed through one paragraph and accepted the rest. 9th, the report has received is very dash indeed. 9th, she has sent her paper to a dash journal. 10th, these new measures will be given a boost to our dash. Answer: flew, granted, offense, putting, valuable, jealousy, struck, disturbing, learned, economy. Page number 909. B. Use each of the following words in two separate sentences, first as a noun and then as a verb. Marks 10. First, turn. Second, spell. Third, part. Fourth, contact. Fifth, meet. Answer. First, turn, noun. The sick man took a turn for the better. Turn, verb. He turned to the left. Second, spell, noun. He cast a spell over his friends. Spell, verb. How do you spell your name? Third, part, noun. He acted his part very well. Part, verb. We tried to part the two fighters. Fourth, contact, noun. I have no contact with him for a long time. Contact, verb. Where can I contact Mr. Roy? Fifth, meet, noun. He took part in the athletic meet. Meet, verb. The two trains meet at Bardhaman. C. Rewrite the following sentences as directed. Marks 5. First, you are too early for the show. In the bracket, use enough. Answer: you are early enough for the show. Second, the Mahanadi is not so long as the Ganga. In the bracket, use the comparative degree. Answer: the Ganga is longer than the Mahanadi. Third, Varsha readily complied dash my request. In the bracket, fill in the gap with a preposition. Answer: Varsha readily complied with my request. Fourth, we are sure of his honesty. In the brackets, change into a complex sentence. Answer: we are sure that he is honest. Fifth, Sarita said, don't open the window. In the bracket, change into the indirect form. Answer: Sarita ordered not to open the window. Fifth, correct the following sentences. 10 marks. First, may I now take your leave? Second, the soup will taste better if it had more salt in it. Third, is he used to come late every day? Fourth, your daughter is 12 years old, isn't she? Fifth, we must be true to our words. Sixth, Datta is living here since 1998. Seventh, a 20-mile walk is really very hard. Eighth, we watched the man to disappear in the woods. Ninth, Kalidas has written Meghadutam. 10th, let's have coffee. First, answer. First, may I now take leave of you? Second, the soup will taste better if it had more salt in it. Third, is he used to coming late every day? Fourth, your daughter is 12 years old, isn't she? In the question is your daughter is 12 years old, isn't it? So the answer is your daughter is 12 years old, isn't she? Fifth, we must be true to our word. Sixth, Datta has been living here since 1998. Seventh, a 20-mile walk is really very hard. Eighth, we watched the man disappearing in the woods. Ninth, Kalidas wrote Meghadutam. 10th, let's have a cup of coffee. B. Of the words given in bracket, choose the one you think appropriate to fill in the blanks. Marks 10. First, he seems to be dash to hard work. Adverse, averse. Second, the building does not dash to safety regulation. In the bracket, confirm, confirm. Third, ashram was accused of dash the workers against the management. In the bracket, exciting, inciting. Fourth, rescue workers rushed to the site of the plane dash. In the bracket, crash, crash. Fifth, Gagan uses expensive dash for his letters. In the bracket, stationery, stationery. STATIONERY or STATIONARY. Sixth, the factory has dash making toys. In the bracket, seized, seized. SEIZED or CEASED. Seventh, Shakil is dash at solving difficult crossword puzzles. In the bracket, ingenious, ingenious. INGENUOUS or INGENIOUS. Eighth, I wish you a dash recovery. In the bracket, fast or speedy. Ninth, everybody said that her decision was dash. In the bracket, judicious or judicial. 10th, you will have to dash your afternoon tea as we have no more sugar. In the bracket, forgo or forgo. FOREGO or FORGO. Answers. First, averse. AVERSE. Second, confirm. CONFORM. Third, inciting. Fourth, crash. 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 Fifth, stationery. STATIONERY. Sixth, seized. CEASED. Seventh, ingenious. INGENIOUS. Eighth, speedy. Ninth, judicious. And 10th, forgo. FORGO. C. Use the following phrases in sentences so as to bring out their meaning. Marks 5. First, deal in. Second, prime of life. Third, above board. Fourth, dwell upon. Fifth, in full swing. Answer. He deals in rice. Second, he breathed his last in the prime of life. Third, his dealings are open and above board. Fourth, he dwelt long upon the subject. Fifth, music was in full swing when I came. West Bengal Civil Service Examination 2002. Composition and translation. 3 hours. Full marks 100. If the questions attempted are in excess of the prescribed number, only the questions attempted first up to the prescribed number shall be valued and the remaining ones ignored. The candidates will be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay to arrange their ideas in orderly fashion and to write concisely. Credit will be given for effective and exact expression. First, write an essay on one of the following. Marks 40. A. Is the study of history necessary? B. Environmental pollution and its remedies. C. The uses of information technology. D. The future of cricket lies in one-day matches, not in tests. E. How to expand literacy in India. Second, write a précis of the following passage in your own words and add a little. Use the special sheet provided for the purpose. Marks 20. J.D. Bernal was born in 1901 in an Irish Catholic family whose members were formerly Spanish Sephardic Jews. His mother was an American. He was a precocious child who tried many things, including writing an autobiography at the age of 9. He tried to build things but was not a skilled instrument builder. Being clumsy with his hands, he nearly electrocuted himself and a friend while setting up an X-ray tube. Later in life, he would show great foresight, giving ideas about new instruments which his collaborators would build, often with inexpensive objects such as broken clocks and cycle tubes. At the age of 10, Bernal left Ireland for England to join a school. He had witnessed the Irish independence movement, which had his sympathetics. He had also seen the tragedy that the First World War brought to social life in England. Bernal found intellectual satisfaction for the first time when he came to study in Cambridge. Here, he attended many meetings and met many kinds of people. They were not only students and intellectuals, but also soldiers and industrial workers. It surprised him that while the sun did not set in the British Empire, it was only darkness and gloom that awaited the poor. Bernal considered that a scientist's duty lay also in changing the social functions of science so that it would not become an instrument in the hands of a privileged class to exploit the poor. Page number 911. Third, select 5 of the following idioms and construct a sentence with each of them so as to bring out its meaning. 2 into 5, 10 marks. As the crow flies. Answer. His house is 5 kilometers from the station as the crow flies. B. Break the ice. Answer. There was a silence of some time, after which I broke the ice and began to talk. C. For the duration. The school was used as a hospital for the duration of the war. D. Hold fast to. He held fast to his principles. E. On the dot. He reached office on the dot every day. F. A contradiction in terms. Many people think that an honest politician is a contradiction in terms. G. In tandem. I want these groups to work in tandem on this project. H. Tit for tat. Your reply to his comments was just a tit for tat. Fourth, select 5 of the words in the left-hand column and link each of them to the appropriate adjective in the right-hand column. 2 into 5, 10 marks. Vitally, heartily, acutely, deadly, supremely, highly, immensely. Now in the other column, successful, popular, serious, important, aware, confident, glad. Answer. Vitally, important. Heartily, glad. Acutely, aware. Deadly, serious. Supremely, confident. Highly, successful. Immensely, popular. Page number 912. UPSC Civil Service Examination, English Compulsory 2002. Time 3 hours, full marks 300. Candidates should attempt all questions. First, write an essay in about 300 words on one of the following. Marks 100. A. The ways to enrich our regional languages. B. Whether Indian democracy today. C. Terrorism in India. D. Science and religion. E. If I were the Prime Minister of India. Second, read the following passage and answer in your own words the questions that follow. 5 into 15, 75 marks. The scientific and technological revolution has brought about fundamental changes in the socio-economic sphere. The use of diesel engine and the electricity and the beginning of the application of atomic energy have changed the modes of production. These things have led to the concentration of capital in a few hands. Great enterprises are placing cottage industries and small firms. The working classes have certainly benefited economically. The miracle of production has necessitated the miracle of consumption. Better amenities are available at a lower cost. A man can buy anything he wants today if he can only afford. But what kind of men are needed today for our society? Men who can cooperate in large groups, men whose tasks are standardized, men who feel free and independent and at the time are willing to fit in the social machine without any friction. Modern man is faced with a sort of moral and spiritual dilemma. The crisis of values yawns beyond him. Today the old values are in the melting pot and the new values have not found their foothold. Man has become the automaton. He has lost ownership of himself. The discord between the development of positive science on the one hand and the dehumanization of man on the other is the worst crisis of the modern age. Apart from the economic sphere, the socio-political sphere has not escaped this stratification and the crisis of values. Since the Renaissance, man has been striving for individual rights and self-dignity. But under the present day setup, only two types of men are found: the conditioner and the conditioned. The propaganda offices and the planning bureau have almost crushed the individual self, and it has resulted in the rise of the social self. Due to this pressure, the personality fulfillment or its all-round development is denied to many. A. What has changed the modes of production today? B. What things are being replaced by great enterprises? C. What kind of men are needed today for our society? D. Why has man become the automation of his own creation? E. Is modern man able to attain personality fulfillment? Third, make a précis of the following passage in your own language in about 230 words. Marks will be deducted if your précis is much longer or shorter than the prescribed length. Marks 75. What is the use of a house if you haven't got a tolerable planet to put it on? Asked Henry David Thoreau more than a century ago. The earth seems to be literally falling to pieces. Recent environmental setbacks include billions of tons of ice shelves breaking off in the Antarctic and unusually warm temperatures in different parts of the world. Panic reactions range from predictions of sinking islands to lamenting the ill effects of global warming induced by release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. The trouble is that we are too much obsessed with the problem of climatic change to even acknowledge the fact that the state of the planet hinges on much more. Climatic change is at best a symptom of a far more complex malaise, just as a fever is most often only an indicator of something that's gone away in our body. Page number 913. It is time for a complete and comprehensive planetary health check that will examine the impact of change in land use, loss of biodiversity, use of fertilizers and pesticides, and consistent pollution of water bodies. This would overcome the limitation of evaluating how ecosystems work by reacting to just one major environmental concern, as is happening in the case of global warming. These considerations have been responsible for the setting up of an international panel, the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, financed by 4 major international bodies including the UNO and the World Bank. The Eco Panel was set up without much fuss last June 2001 and is expected to determine over a period of 4 years and at a cost of $21 million the state of the Earth's ecosystems. The Eco Panel will have source input from more than 2,000 natural and social scientists the world over. Put simply, the Earth will go through the equivalent of a thorough physical analysis so that biological, economic and social information can be collected to help scientists arrive at a final diagnosis. What is crucial, says one of the scientists, is that no one has previously tried to work out how all of these conflicting pressures interact. The other important factor is how well we can orchestrate trade-offs and interaction in order to maintain ecological balance. Scientific bodies like the International Panel on Climate Change (IPCC) have access to vast amounts of baseline data relating to the subject, although critics point out that the information available is mostly from the north, leaving the concerns of the south largely unrepresented. The newly constituted Eco Panel will have to take all these aspects into account. For instance, it will have to ensure that data collection is more representative of the range of the world. Today we have the advantage of sourcing data from remote sensing satellites as well. The information thus gathered would have to be stored out and analyzed by specialists and also by generalists. Before the panel comes out with the specific periodic prediction and warnings, the healing process can begin only if all the scientific evidence and directions is made available to a wide audience and not just restricted to policy makers. Rather than depending solely upon governments to listen to and take corrective action, the focus should now be on convincing individuals and communities whose collective or individual action will eventually make the difference between regression and recovery.